Hey, TVs, it's Psychic Bob. What is so awesome to be with you? Well, here we are. It's Saturday. It's time for our Spiritualist class. But before we get into that, I want to show you guys something special. As many of you know, I'm moving to a minimalist lifestyle. So I'm creating my own art for my home. It's going to be very simple modern art that will go with my new style. But if you look behind me here is my new painting that I just made. This is a painting I created. It's made with acrylics and tempera paint, and I call it Green Horizon. That's the name of it. I thought you guys would like to take a closer look. It's a large painting. Its size is 24 by 36, and it's got a gold field. And as you can see, it's got the different forms. It's rectangular forms in green and in white, and then the bottom is a black stripe across it. And anyways, it's just something, an image that came to me, and I was inspired and decided to create this painting. So anyways, this is going to be my newest artwork. I'm going to be developing a lot more for my home. Not a lot, because I'm keeping a minimalist, but a few for key places. And so anyways, I wanted to come here today and share this painting with you guys. So again, it's 2 feet by 3 feet, 24 by 36, so it's a large size work. Again, if you guys, let's see if we can get a little closer. It's kind of hard to see. I don't have the best lighting in here right now, but let me try out, see if I can turn on my lamp here. I have a little new lamp here. Oops, my lamp's not working. Oops, you know what? I got to turn it on. Anyways, let me try to light it, and then I'll show it to you. Well, my new lamp is not highlighting the painting the best. But anyways, hopefully you can get a kind of a picture of it there, better, clearer image a little bit. But this is called Green Horizon, my newest artwork. Anyways, all right, well, let's get ready for our class. I want you guys to gather around, get out your pens and papers, and we're going to have a class today. Well, guys, I so enjoyed sharing with you my newest artwork, and you know, if you're not into modern art, you don't like it, that's okay. But maybe some of you find that interesting or fun or fascinating. Anyways, we're going to continue on today. You know, we've been for the last few months talking about being a mystical traveler. And right now we're at the part, we're going through Sylvia Browne's book, Mystical Travel. I would encourage you, if you can, get a copy of this. Pick it up at Amazon or at eBay. You know, because it's a wonderful book, and we're going to be studying this over the next few months as part of our class on spiritualism. And in this book, Sylvia Browne, who's a psychic medium, is talking about life themes. Now, many of you know I believe in this also, because when you have a private reading with me, I oftentimes talk about your life themes. And so everybody has a life theme. Some of us have multiple life themes. For example, my life themes are communicator and psychic. And what that means is that I've come here at this time in this body to experience the world, to express myself through those life themes. So here it is. It's no funny that I'm a professional psychic and I do a lot of communications work. So, you know, the importance of life themes, let me tell you, some people say, well, what's it matter what your life theme is? Well, if you don't know your life theme or you haven't figured it out, you'll do everything else but what you should be doing, what you came here to do. So life themes help you to have your focus in your life, and then that also makes your life successful. So we're going to continue on here. Now, there are 47 life themes, according to Sylvia Browne. I actually disagree with her. I love Sylvia, but I don't always agree with every point. I think there are more than 47, but we're going to go with her 47 for right now, okay? So we're up to point number 36. So we've only got 10 to go. So by next week, we'll finish these. I'm going to read, this is from Sylvia's book, Mystical Traveler. Number 36, Rejection. This challenging theme manifests itself early, accelerating with the entry into school and subsequent involvement in relationships. Often these entities are deserted by those they love. Even their own children will adopt surrogate mother and father figures. The pattern can be broken once the entity recognizes what's happening and surrenders the action and ego involvement to God. Now, see, this is an interesting thing. I'm going to pause there because I want to share my thoughts on this. I've actually met people that go through their whole lives with the rejection theme. And many of them, it's kind of like they also take on the victim theme. I think sometimes those themes go together, victim theme and rejection. Because I've had people come for readings and they'll say, you know, Bob, my mother abandoned me as a child. My father remarried and left me in an orphanage. And, you know, I went to school. None of the kids liked me. And their whole life they've been rejected. And I think Sylvia's really right here where she says this pattern can be broken once the entity recognizes what's happening and surrenders the action and ego involvement to God. What I find is sometimes people with the rejection theme get so, how do I say, obsessed with being rejected that they won't even let anything good come into their lives. And a lot of them self-sabotage relationships. They'll actually meet somebody, maybe they fall in love with them, the person loves them, they love each other. And then the person with the rejection theme will find some reason to push that person away. You hate me or you don't love me, they'll say, and they'll create some drama in their head. And it's really because they're afraid of being hurt, and so they reject others. And so that rejection cycle can be very destructive. And if you're somebody, you think you have a rejection theme, one of the things that Sylvia says, let go of it. First of all, recognize it. And then tell God, say, I've learned now what it is that I'm doing. Many times people, I think, take a rejection theme in order to learn the strength of their character. Can you do it alone? Sometimes I found when I do readings that past lives, for example, come into play. So if somebody, for example, had a former life where they were always sheltered, always pampered. I had a client once, it was a man who came to me, and I said, in your former life, you were very wealthy, you were a prince, you were son of a royal family. I said, everything was provided for you. I said, you never had to do anything for yourself. You never had any challenges, you didn't have to work for anything. And I said, you've actually chosen a rejection theme in this life. The reason why he chosen a rejection theme was so he could learn strength of character. See, as a prince in his former life, nobody ever rejected him. I mean, he had everything. And so he didn't make a lot of soul progress. And so he took a rejection theme so he'd have to go it on his own. And he said to me in the reading, he said, Bob, I really can't get anything right in my life. I don't have any friends. I can't make marriages work. I can't. And I explained this to him. And I said, now that you understand that past life connection and you understand that you've been able to make it on your own. By the way, he was very successful in terms of finances. He did really well. But see, he had to earn that wealth in this lifetime. And so once he understood that and he didn't have to be rejected, then he started drawing people into his life. He got remarried, and his life went on in a really positive direction. So the rejection theme, I like to call it, is a temporary. I mean, most life themes are for life, but some of them, like rejection, I think is a temporary theme. It's given until you get to what you need out of it, and then you can set it aside. And people say, well, then what's my life theme if I give up my life theme? Well, most people in the rejection theme also have other life themes. Interestingly, this guy also had in his chart an entrepreneur theme. So he was a very successful businessman. And so he could focus on that rather than being rejected. Anyways, just my thoughts on that. All right, point number 37 here, going along in Sylvia's book. Rescuer. One often finds the rescuer working alongside the cause fighter, but when the cause fighter moves on to another crusade, the rescuer remains to care for the injured party. An entity with a rescuer theme has a high degree of empathy and can manifest strength for those in need. But when people have obviously created their own problems, the rescuer is determined to save them. And she has save in quotes. By doing so, the rescuer is often the one left hurt. This theme presents a tough road to travel, but the spiritual rewards are great indeed. I've known people also, and also had clients who have been rescuer themed. Rescuer themed do a lot of good in the world. They literally save lives. For example, comes to mind here. Firefighters, EMT squads. I know some of you watching do that. You're rescuers, okay? You go save people in the burning buildings. You know, you get them in the ambulance and give them oxygen. You guys are rescuers. And I'll tell you, having gone through my fire, as you know, a few weeks ago I had a major fire and I got trapped in it. I was thankful for the firemen. They were rescuers doing a great job. Now, you know, the challenging side of this is that sometimes rescuers want to rescue people who don't want to be rescued. And a good example of this is I had a client several years ago, and her son was on heroin. And she said, Bob, I do everything for him. I take him to the doctor. I try to get him detox. I put him in programs. And I said, I know you're trying to help him, but he doesn't want to be rescued. And I had to tell her, I said, you know, he's on a path towards death, and he'll be dead within a year. Now, I didn't like saying that, but I asked the Spirit, I said, can he be saved? And they said no. And unfortunately, I was right. He did die within a year. That made me sad. I hate it when sometimes I want to be really wrong on my readings, but that one I was very right on. And the lady said to me, you know, after she came several times for readings dealing with this, and I said, you know, try to understand, rescuer theme doesn't mean you have to save everybody. It means you have the option to. And I said, you're trying to save your son, but you're weakening his resolve. So I said, you need to practice tough love. And, you know, she ended up taking her energy and putting it into other areas. Like she had other family members who needed help. And she actually helped them get their lives together. Her son never recovered. And I told her, I said, it's not your failing. Rescuer theme can only do if the person wants to be rescued. And he didn't. So if you're somebody who's a rescuer theme, try to be discerning about where you put that energy, because if you put it in the wrong place, it's going to hurt you and it won't help anybody. And like Sylvia said, you'll be the one to be hurt. So don't get hurt. All right, point number 38, life theme number 38, responsibility. Individuals who have chosen the responsibility theme embrace it with a fervor rather than obligation. And they feel guilty if they don't take care of everyone who comes into their orbit. The challenge is to decide what is immediate and necessary, and then to stand back and allow others to share in the assumption of responsibilities. I think that's very well said. You know, speaking of that theme, responsibility theme, I've also known people, you know, I've done readings for over 25 years. And as a psychic, I think I've seen every life theme. And, you know, when I meet somebody with a responsibility theme, usually they're brilliant people. They're really great leaders. A lot of them have responsibility, also have leadership theme. I find those two themes go together. But sometimes responsibility people do burn themselves out, or they become control freaks. And the negative side, they feel so responsible that they have to organize everybody's life around them. And they think that makes them honoring their theme. Actually just makes them annoying. And no offense to those of you who have responsibility themes, but it is a challenge. And so if you're somebody who have a responsibility theme, generally what you'll see is you're somebody who's in a leadership role. Or even if you don't choose that, sometimes people with responsibility themes get pushed into leadership because of that responsibility theme. So as I said, those themes I find often go together. And like Sylvia says, the challenge is to decide what is immediate and necessary. And also, as responsibility, you have to learn to delegate power. Like she says, let others share in the assumption of responsibilities. You know, the greatest leaders, this is something that took me a long time to learn because I'm a bit of a control freak in my business world. You have to trust others. You have to let others learn responsibility. And sometimes you're in the key responsibility position in order to let others learn that. So that can be scary sometimes for a responsibility person because they feel, well, if I don't do it and take care of it, it won't get done. And the fact is, maybe it won't, but that's a lesson that the people you're working with have to learn. Anyways, good point. So I like what she describes that. All right, let's see here. Point number 39, spirituality. The quest to find a spiritual center is an all-encompassing one for this entities. in this category. We find it in people such as Billy Graham and Mother Teresa, along with lay people who give their lives, money, or time to contribute to humankind. When the full potential of this theme has been reached, these entities become far-sighted, compassionate, and magnanimous. Oh, I love that word, magnanimous. But while still involved in the search, they must guard against being narrow and judgmental in their views. Ooh, I could talk for 6 hours on this one, I'm telling you. Now, first of all, on the good side, this theme makes people literally go to the ends of the earth to discover God and to share it with their neighbors. I find many people that are missionaries, whatever religion, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, a lot of them have a spirituality theme. And where the power comes in, I think, with spirituality theme is understanding the difference between religion and spirituality. Now, most people, the spirituality theme, are very religious. But, like Sylvia says here, the challenge is that they don't become too narrow and judgmental in their views. And, I love Mother Teresa. She's a saint. But I got to be honest with you. I found out some things about her as I was learning about her life that clearly point to a spirituality theme. Sylvia's right. But in the negative aspect. Now, don't attack me. I'm not attacking Mother Teresa. But, for example, Mother Teresa took her belief in poverty, that everybody should be poor to focus on God, to an extreme, because when she would go to a hotel, like she would travel the world and go to various, conferences, and they would put her up in a hotel. Well, she said because she believed in poverty and simplicity that the hotel was too fancy. And so they couldn't change the arrangements at the last minute because of security. So she would make the hotel staff come in and literally strip everything out of the hotel room, all the furniture, all the beds, and they would sleep on sheets on the floor, her and the sisters. Now, I admire her interest in keeping things simple, but the amount of extra work and money and expense really did not contribute to poverty. It actually increased the costs because then they'd have to refurbish the whole room after she left. So this is a case where, like Sylvia says, about being too narrow and judgmental. And I think, people that also are fundamentalists, a lot of them really have a spirituality theme. But the problem is they take it to the negative side. Luckily, many people who go to that extreme, I find, at least in my experience with them, is that they'll go to the fundamentalist stage. And at some point they wake up and they discover spirituality versus religion. And then they swing back to a more central or even a little further to the left perspective where they have an openness and a broad-mindedness. So spirituality seems wonderful, but even it has its challenging sides. All right. Our next theme is number 40, survival theme. Okay, let's look at that. Sylvia writes, she says, for any number of reasons, real or imagined, life is a constant struggle for those who've selected a survival theme. At their best, it is a crisis situation. At their best, in a crisis situation, these souls take a grim view of day-to-day existence. The obvious challenge here is to lighten up. I've met people who have had this theme, this survival theme, and, these are the people who never get ahead. No matter what they do, they're always behind. They're always in drama. I knew a lady once. She used to live in my neighborhood, and every other day she'd be coming to my house. Oh, Bob, can you give me a ride? My car broke down. I didn't mind helping her out. Then it got to where it's like, oh, Bob, I lost my job. My rent's due. Can you pay my rent? Oh, Bob, my son's in jail. Can you help get him out of jail? Oh, Bob, and it was like drama, 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 drama. And I said to her, she knew I was a psychic. She'd always try to show him get free readings. And she always would say, well, say, Bob, I can't afford a reading. Can you do a reading? I did this a few times for her. But I also realized that I was enabling her to stay in her survival theme by bailing her out. And I told her, I said, her name was Mary. I said, Mary, I love you, dear, but I can't continue to do this. I said, you have a survival thing, because we talked about this in our reading. And I said, survival theme, similar to the rejection theme, I believe is a theme you only need until you master it. And I said, I'm not going to help you marry, not that I don't love you, but I want you to realize that your power to change this comes from within. And interestingly, instead, I thought she was going to be really angry at me because I wouldn't help her out. But instead, she said, wow, I'll think about that. Well, a few weeks later, she called me and she said, Bob, guess what? She said, my life is good. I got a new job. She said, I'm moving out of the apartments. I've got a new home. And she said, I might even be able to purchase it. It's a lease to own. Her son, who had criminal background, had got his life together. He was in a program to get his life straight. Things started to change because she embraced her part in the drama and took responsibility. And therefore, she doesn't have to do a survival theme anymore. So anyways, try to think about that. If you're one of these people who say, I'm just like that, remember, you don't have to stay in that. Do not have to stay. You have power to change. All right. Well, guys, I think we're going to stop it there today because Say Goodbye has a really, really busy schedule. I'm doing a lot of readings, so we're not going to do a channeling today. I have to balance my energy. I can't do everything. So today I thought we'd just have a class. Next week we'll have a channeling. But I want to thank you guys for being here. Listen, make sure to see yesterday's video if you didn't see that. We had Paranormal Friday, and we talked about electronic voice phenomena. So definitely see that. It's in the queue right before this video. And I thank you guys for being here. By the way, just want to remind you about my new business telephone number. My old number is going away, and this is my new number. If you want to call to get on my schedule for private reading, 703-825-3929. Again, Psychic Bob for private readings, 703-825-3929. I'd love the chance to sit down with you. We could explore your life themes, what that means, how your past lives tie in. You know, if private reading, it's a full hour, you on me, one-on-one. And we can do that by Skype or telephone. And I now have, with this new telephone, a landline, so you'll be able to hear me much clearer. In the old days, I used a cell phone when I wasn't in my office. But now I have a landline phone here at my home office, and I would love the chance to sit down with you. Guys, thank you. I love you. You guys are the best. Anyways, thanks for being here. Tell me in the comment box below, do you think you know what your life theme is? Also, tell me in the box below, do you like my new painting? What do you think? All right, guys, we'll see you back here tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Sunday, the witching hour. Make sure to be here 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a live broadcast talking about all things Wiccan. We'll see you here tomorrow. Till then, may you always blessed